is leading by example, inspiring leadership and advocacy in the Drupal community. What is the session about? Like in this session, we'll talk about the advocacy. What are the open web principles which we need to implement, and how it will help the new contributors to implement and to contribute to the Drupal community. My name is Jasprit Singh and I'm a senior project manager over here in the Excellent. The best part is that I have overall 14 years of experience. Out of 14, around 11 plus years of experience I have devoted to the Excellent. My working style is a kind of the result oriented, and I try my best. Like my USP is the problem solving, so I try to dive deep into the solutions, deep into the problems and figure out the solutions accordingly. I'm a blog writer. You can see my blogs on the LinkedIn. And other than that, I'm a good community contributor as well. I'm participating in community contributions since 2019. So I'll showcase my further slides about my contributions as well. I'm a big fan of cricket. That's my other personal stuff as well. In this session, we'll cover up many things, starting with the introduction. What is session about? My journey about the Drupal community. What's the problem statement in the community? What are the things which we are planning to resolve or discuss in this session? My personal growth and story which I'll share. Key strategies for leadership and advocacy. Empowering the Drupal community members. It is kind of like experienced team members are already there, but how to encourage the new team members, like kind of who are willing to contribute to the Drupal community. What are the impacts and outcomes which I personally observe that, which I would like to share, which will help you to understand what are the benefits of contribution. The last but not the least, which is kind of the learning objective and the key takeaways. Starting with the introduction, in this session, initially we'll cover up the critical role of leadership, advocacy and the mentorship in the building and sustaining the Drupal ecosystem. Second is, what are the key strategies to inspire and empower the contributors or the kind of the new contributors to emphasize, like in terms of what is the importance of contribution, what are the key principles, the web principles, which we will discuss in the next few slides. The last but not the least, which is kind of at the end, we will summarize the actionable insights, how to take the active roles, and advocate for the more collaborative and inclusive Drupal ecosystem. I'll start with the quote, courage start with the showing up and letting ourselves be seen. It's a kind of like written by the Brené Brown. Here it says about courage is not being heroic or bold. It is about like how you showcase or authentic things to others, and it's about to stepping up into that position where you are uncomfortable, uncertain, judged, but somehow you are showcasing them. But it will help you to learn, grow in the community, plus also self-discipline things which you will learn as well. A lot of contributions I've already done so far. Currently it is my 8th Drupal camp as a speaker, and the 4 Drupal cons I've already attended as a speaker. So this is my fortune. This is my journey since 2019. So what problem statement we are resolving over here in terms of community contributions? The challenges in the Drupal community. So these are the kind of the 3 principles, the consistency in holding the community values. The first one is the collaboration, openness, innovation. In terms of collaboration point of view, where Drupal community try to evolve into the collaboration, helping the Drupal contributors. But the thing is that it is very difficult to sustain it, go for the long. Second is openness. Yes, Drupal community thrives for the openness. But the thing is that it is very difficult for them to hear each and every voice, and it's not a kind of the easy job for them. The last is innovation. A lot of things which come over here in terms of like learning new things, but how to make it consistent throughout the journey, that is the one kind of the challenge. The next is the difficulties new contributors face. The first one is the finding the voice, because usually the new contributors face the challenges that a lot of experienced contributors are there. How I will survive in that community? That's the first question in their mind. So how they would be able to share their voice? We will discuss that, like what are the key takeaways or the kind of values they would adapt in order to work in that direction. Next is the contributing confidently. Sometimes they feel that like I'm contributing, but I'm not sure whether my contribution is up to the standards or the Drupal standards or not. So some kind of confusions are there, some kind of assumptions are there they are making, but we'll try to resolve in this session. My personal journey, which I would like to start with, how and why I started this journey. So the first thing is finding my voice. In 2019, when I submitted my first session in Feb 2019 in Drupal Camp London, I never thought about that my session would be selected ever, because this was my first only session which I have submitted, and fortunately my session got selected. So I was very happy at the time, like yes, I need to speak in front of more than this gathering was there in the Drupal Camp London in 2019. I was very, I would say, hesitant over there. My legs were shirking at the time, and I was very nervous. But soon the time passes, I learned many new things. Apart from that, creating the impactful narratives. In terms of presentations point of view, I was very weak. My first presentation, and if I'll compare it for the today, a lot of gaps are there. If I'll see my previous one and this one, I can feel that what are the things which I have made a mistake. So that was the kind of things which I tried to learn over there, like in terms of improving the presentation skills. Next is embracing vulnerability, overcoming the hesitation, gain the confidence, speaking with the audience, how to interact with them. So that was the thing like which I want to learn over there. Building a supporting network. On LinkedIn, because nowadays like I'm very active on the LinkedIn, because let's suppose if I'm doing some sort of contributions, I try to put over there so that other people also learn from that. Kind of example, this session, I will post this kind of presentation over there so that new users will also learn like what was the session in case they were not able to attend that. At least they would be able to see the presentation over there and can reach out to me over there as well. The last but not the least, which is kind of the becoming a trusted leader. Now I have already established the credibility, because when I started 2019, no one knows that, like who is Justin. But now, because the fortunate thing is that recently in the Drupal camp, DrupalCon London in May 2024, when I visited over there, few people reached out to me just like, it is you. Like, so even though I'm not recognizing them, but they are recognizing me just because of my contributions which I'm giving to the community. That helps me, like yes, I have gained the credibility, people knows me. That is a kind of the win-win situation for me. So key strategies for the leadership and the advocacy, which let's have a discussion on same. The first one is promoting the mentorship. Mentorship is a kind of playing a very vital role over here in the Drupal community. I can give you the two examples. One is related to the non-technical, one is related to the technical. Let's talk about the technical things. For example, if a new contributor doesn't know how to contribute a patch to the community, right? So the best place is that like he or she can collaborate with the team member who is already well versed with that, kind of the experienced contributor with the newly contributor person can collaborate together. The newly contributor can learn something new from the experienced one. Like this way, they can plan the one-on-one mentorship training, so they can learn from each other. I'm not saying it's a kind of one-way direction, it's a kind of, we also learn from the mentee, and mentee can learn from the mentor. The second non-technical example which I can give, when I started the contributions, there were very less people in my organization who were contributing. So when they see the lot of contributions from my side, they reached out to me just with I need some assistance, and they reached out to me in order to review the abstracts. Like, could you please review whether the abstract is good to submit that? So to be honest, I helped many team members, and I can give you the ratio of 50 to 60% people got shortlisted in the recent Drupal camps and calls. There are a few people over here as well who got shortlisted. The Shani is the one person like who also reached out to me. That is a live example because he never contributed in the Drupal camps and calls. So he was very new. He reached out to me. I helped them, like, first of all, phrase your idea. Reached out to me. Based upon that, I'll help you out how to rephrase and submit as per the community standards. So it will help you. On basis on same, if you are going to encourage your overall organization, team members, then I have submitted or given a webinar in our internal sessions how to submit the abstracts in the Drupal cons and camps. That also encourages the team members in order to contribute into the Drupal community. Second is facilitating the open dialogues. In the open dialogues means there are the two ways in order to do that. In the Drupal community, if there is any forum available where people can share and exchange their ideas. Second is, if you could arrange the local meetups in your cities, that would help you to understand each other's perspective. You will gain something new from them, and based upon that, at least people would understand what are the key areas where they're supposed to work in terms of community contributions point of view. They can also ask from the experienced contributors as well. Third is the empowering the active participation. If you got shortlisted for one session, it should not be the case like I'm done with that. So please keep the momentum high. It will help you to learn something new because in my 12 sessions, it is my 12th session in the Drupal Camp and Com. But out of 12 sessions, you can say that approximately 70% my sessions are pretty new. If I'm repeating my previous session, then I'll try to make sure my previous session's presentation should not be similar to that. It should be enhanced in the next version. The next is advocating the open web principles. It's a kind of, we are talking about accessibility, collaborative, openness. These are the kind of the web principles. If the people would collaborate together in order to understand the accessibility standards or the data privacy point of view, they would be able to learn something new about the WCAG standards of accessibility and try to implement in their projects and learn something new. So kind of at least the open discussion should be there so that we can enhance the community values. How to empower the community members? It's a kind of either newly or the existing ones. First, building the confidence through the mentorship. If the mentee is not confident, like I would be able to speak up in front of the people, a lot of people, but then you have to encourage what are the key things which you need to adapt over there in order to share your knowledge with others. Or could you please give some sort of relevant examples, videos, so that will help them to learn and showcase something new. Okay, so I can give an example of Shani because he was a bit hesitant. Okay, so when he started presenting in the session, then he was able to address the questions to others as well. That is a kind of the gain the momentum while delivering the session. So definitely he will not stop over here. He will continue with the further sessions as well. Second is providing the hands-on guidance. Please make sure whenever you are supporting the team members, encouraging them to participate in the Drupal community, please make sure to provide some sort of relevant documentations so that documentation would help them as well. But along with that documentation will help others as well. So make sure to place at least somewhere in the center location so that other people would also be able to access that. Next is the impacts and outcomes. What are the impacts and outcomes which I have received? The first one is the demonstration of leadership and impacts. When I have already elaborated you in the past slide as well, increase the engagement sessions I did not stop myself to like I'm done with the initial to international events, but I started giving the contribution to the Drupal camps as well. Rather the gathering is less, but that's okay. You will learn something new. You'll prepare the presentation, and I can see that my 30%. I can see that as compared to the last Drupal camp this year, the gathering is way high. Last year, approximately, you can say 20 to 30 people were there, but here in this room, I can see that more than that. That's one live example. Second is the growth in the mentorship program. Because even though I'm also giving the mentorship training to others, how to do the contributions, but I'm also learning something new from them as well. It is not a case, it's a kind of one-way traffic, it's a kind of two-way traffic, where I'm also learning something from mentee, and mentees are also learning from me. New contributors gain confidence and taking the active roles. If they would know what are the active roles they're supposed to adapt, then after they would be able to contribute fully. But if they are not aware, then it would be very difficult for them. So make sure to share knowledge with others, the new people like who are new to the community, new to the contributions, patch submissions, session submissions, and many other contributions, kind of the panel discussions, the case study submissions. So at least give some awareness to them. So it's not a kind of the single door on entry. There are the multiple doors. We have to pick up the right opportunity to contribute in the Drupal community. Reflections on my personal growth. What I learned so far. The first one is the public speaking skills. I was very bad in that, to be honest. Because my first intention was that like I need to enhance my public speaking skills, then I have to do something out of the box. So this opportunity to Drupal contributions helped me to learn something in terms of speaking in front of large audience. So that's a kind of the one achievement. Initially, I was facing I told you, an anxiety, my legs were shivering, but today it's not a case. Second is the presentation skills. Because I was not good in the presentations point of view. I need to improve that skill. Based upon that, I started delivering the sessions so that at least I can improve the presentation. How can I narrate the stories? How can I interact with the people with the help of my presentation? Overcoming hesitation and embrace leadership. So I was hesitant in the first session, but I'm hesitant too as well. Like I'm nervous too as well. But it's not a case I want to be able to interact with the people. Okay, it's a kind of normal thing, but the thing is that how you overcome that. That's the main thing. So I tried to overcome with these things. So learning objectives and the key takeaways, what you have learned today, the role of leadership in the open source community, strategies to inspire and empower, the importance of advocacy or the open web principles, mentoring and guiding the new contributors. Other than that, few actionable steps which the new contributors can also use or the experienced ones can also use. The first one is that go for the small, start with the small with the mentorship. Instead of going with the large audience, so at least start with the one person, go with the others. Second is advocate for open source principles. If you are aware, then you will be able to educate others. Third is take the lead in organizing community events. So Drupal Camp is the live example. Pune, we have registered in 2024. In the last after 7 events, we have registered now. So it's a kind of the effort space. The last but not the least, which is kind of support the new team members, the new contributors in this journey, and encourage the audience to think about their own path with the Drupal and the Drupal community. Thank you so much. Any questions so far? Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your learning process and the growth path and for sharing your insights. So my question is that your first session, DrupalCon session was in 2019. So what were the things that encouraged you and that helped you to submit that session for, even to think about submitting a session at an international?
Thank you so much for asking me. It's a very valid question. So kind of when I got the mentorship training from my another person, kind of another mentor, that helped me to do the submit the sessions, to be honest. Because my mentor was the Shweta Sharma, which is the kind of the QA director, who was a frequent submitter of the Drupal sessions, and she also attended a lot of sessions over there. And I inspired from her. When I see she's contributing well in the community, she is speaking so well, better than me. So I approached her, like, I would like to submit a session, so would you like to help me? So she said, yes, okay. So I prepared a short phrase or the draft and submit to her. So she shared the feedback, just with the title should be catchy. Make sure the learning objective should be in the pointers instead of in the paragraph. So at least I got some sort of insights from her side that helped me to do the first submission in the Drupal Camp London, and fortunately I got selected. I hope I was able to answer your question. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
Thank you for the session. I would like to ask, I know that the answer can be very explanatory, but in brief, what are the key points to make sure that a session we are submitting at camp or want to be selected, like in content part or a topic wise, what would then be those key pointers?
Thank you so much. It's a very valid thing, because usually the new contributors who have not submitted the session ever feel hesitant, what would be the content I need to present. That's the first question in the mind, right? So the thing is that I usually try to utilize those things, those key pointers which I'm already dealing with in my projects. So you have to dive deep into that. For example, recently a person reached out to me. Just that I need to submit a session, but I don't have an idea. Okay, he was working with me with my team. He recently worked in the personalization. Okay, but he never know this could be translated into the session as well. The thing is that you have to dive deep into that. What are the key things, the out of the box things you are doing? Sometimes we do not aware what are the things we are doing. So based upon that, you can start. For example, 1.5 years back, I was working in support. Okay, so I was working in support with Kanban. Okay, so I submitted a session how support works along with the Kanban. So kind of. So it's a kind of the regular things which you are doing. You can select the things from over here, and then after submit that. But in terms of key things, what are the things you're supposed to take care while submitting that? Make sure to figure out the relevant categories which the Drupal Camp or Con have added over there. Make sure your session should be within that. For example, if one session is related to the community contribution, the category is there. Okay, so it should not be case like your session is something else and you are adding non-relevant tag over there. So that is the first thing like which will reject your session. Okay, and in terms of what are the key areas which we need to take care while submitting a session, in terms of what would be the title, at least the title should be catchy. What are the key areas, the problem statement which you, because I try to divide my abstract into the 4 key areas. One, the title should be catchy. Make sure the person who will read the title, the person, it could be session evaluator or the audience. The person who will read the title should figure it out what is the session about. It is not a kind of straightforward, my name is Jasprit Singh, the person will know the person's name is Jasprit Singh, right? Make sure what is the problem statement you are trying to solve, what is the problem statement, how you have achieved that or how you have overcome that. Third, what are the key objectives which you are trying to showcase to the others. Make sure to submit into the pointers, then after who will be the relevant attendees who will add that. So I have a presentation already, so I will be happy to share with you as well. Okay. Thank you.
Just one follow up on that point. So you said that submit the session on the topic which you are currently working with, or so sometimes, like for example, I also submitted in the camps and the cons, but unfortunately did not got selected because I got a feedback that the session I submitted has become too specific to a certain audience, those who know should know or have a prerequisite to understand that technology. So how to face that, or how to make sure that this doesn't happen?
It's also a very tricky question. So kind of, I usually try to do something out of the box. Make sure if your session is pretty straightforward, user will not learn something new, then your session will not be selected. First rule. Second is, make sure think in a very empathetic view, like the people who will attend your session, what they will gain, what they will learn. So the learning should be the extraordinary, what they are aware and what you want to try to share with them. So make sure to share the unique values instead of the similar values which they are already aware. Or we can have a brief discussion after that as well.
Sure.
Thanks, man. Any other question?
Yes, thank you for the session. It was quite inspiring. I want to understand, as a mentor, you must have dealt with the mentees who are kind of very difficult. When I say difficult, who require a lot of spoon feeding, like hand holding and all that. So how did you dealt with that situation? Keeping your frustration aside. Okay, I've told this same story multiple times, and the person is not getting the gist of it. So just if you could share.
It's a very common thing, to be honest.
Yeah, it is very common.
It's not a kind of unique thing, but it's a very common to everyone. Usually everyone feels that. Try to avoid the spoon feeding. That's the first rule. Second is that because sometimes people also reached out to me I would like to contribute into the sessions, but I don't have any topic. Could you please involve me as a co-participant? So, how can I? So, the thing is that if you have not contributed to my session, for example, I prepared the presentation. If you have not even contributed to the submitting the abstract, if you have not contributed to the presentation, how could I add your name? To be honest, as a friendship, if you are doing so, then you are doing wrong. To be honest, okay. Make sure to guide them effectively. First thing is that let them prepare the draft. Whether it's a very rough draft, let them prepare that. Like ask them to at least share 2 ideas which you are dealing with in a regular projects or the regular life. Let them come up. Ask them to or give them a timeline. Like let's meet by next week. Today is Saturday. Let's meet by next Saturday, and let's see what you have prepared. I guarantee you that those people will definitely get back to you with the 2 drafts. If people will not support themselves to do something, because as I told them as well, like people are usually not aware what they are doing. Just help them. Like I am working with you, and you are doing something good in this direction. But then that idea will trigger in his mind, like yes, I'm not aware. Like this could be translated into the session as well. So we need to encourage them about the session, which kind of session would be selected, and which kind of session could be translated into the abstract and the topic. We can have a brief discussion. It's a very good discussion. So brief discussion is required on same, so we can have that.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.